Okay, everyone, welcome back. And first of all, just let me congratulate you all because of your journey so far, so clear, up to here. Okay, up to here, that means we have been through single inheritance, private mode, public mode, multi level inheritance, multiple inheritance, along with ambiguity resolutions, all the compatibility issues for private, protected, and public. Along with that, we are going to discuss today one more type of inheritance in detail, along with the coding, along with the diagram, and of course the table. Finally, the list. Okay, that category is referred as hybrid inheritance. That means we are going to combine, we are going to mixture more than one categories of inheritance. Okay, everyone, first of all, see everyone, I have listed out the steps. If you want to be very thorough with inheritance, you have to be through all the 4 steps. All right, the list number 1. Okay, if you just refer the steps, first step is to diagram. Okay, everyone, the diagram is right here. You can see in the screen. Main parent class, that is student. From there, we are going to derive one more child class, test, another super child class called result. This result class is having one more parent class, that is sports. So now the situation is bit complicated. More than one type of inheritance, it is easily visible there. Multi-level and multiple, combination of both. Fine. So that is why referred as hybrid inheritance. Okay, so first of all, if you are clear with the diagram, we can try the list. Fine. This blank space, right? This column, that is for the making of the list. Okay, once again, let me clear out the purpose of the list: to keep track of the variables from the base class to the child class. And once again, once after receiving those variables, either in the private or protected or in the public, where exactly you are going to throw it. All right, so make these things very clear to keep the perfect track of these variables and functions from and forth. All right, we need to be very clear with the list. If you are having the list perfectly done, your program, your logic will be perfectly done. All right, otherwise you will be stuck with some errors and all. Okay, so step number 2, that is the list, like I just explained, clarified once again. Okay, step number 3. Okay, once you are done making the list, the final thing, the final act will be the main thing, will be the creation of the object, initialization of the object from the main function. Okay, once you create an object from the main function, you need to observe you are supposed to refer the same list of the class of which you have created the object. That means object, its class, and the list must be same. All right, what you are going to do is, whenever you are going to make a call to the data or function, just like this, fine. In other words, any properties, if you are trying to access any properties using the object, you have to confirm that that property is still available in the list or not. That will be 3a. 3b, that property must be public. If it is private, it will not go beyond the class. That means you cannot access it from main. If it is protected, definitely no. All right, so both these rules must be clarified. The properties must be in the list and it must be defined as public. Rule number 4, step number 4, if you are once inside the list, fine, from main function definition you have clarified both the rules. Now you have decided there is nothing wrong executing up, or you can say accessing the property. That means once you are inside the list, okay, there is no problem while making an access to any property belonging to the same list. Okay, rule number 4, I'll just give you a perfect practical example when we are dealing with the list. It is going to clarify everything. Okay, one more thing, a word of precaution: you definitely need to refer the tables every time you get a property from the base class and you store those properties in the child class. So let me make it available. All right, so your table 4 inheritance, table 4 making the list is already available. You can refer the table, keep practicing the table. Okay, and don't make a slightest, don't make a tiniest mistake while making a list, because those mistakes will going to be reflected. Okay, fine. So everyone, like we just discussed, we are going to deal with 4 different classes this time. The number of classes are getting increased one by one. Initially we have the class student, then from the class student we are getting a class test, from the class student we are getting class test. Okay, so there is one flow, this is one particular flow. Right next to that we have class port, that is totally independent separate class. It is somewhere else. All right, it is defined somewhere else. That means it has no connection with either student or test. It is totally separate. Okay, and finally everything is getting jumbled into here. The program is a bit lengthy, that is why I have divided the program into two parts for the sake of continuity, of course. Okay, so for the class result, it is getting the properties from class test. Okay, from student to test and from test to result. There is one flow, there is one cycle. Another part, another flow that is coming from sports directly to the result, as you can see over there. All right, I guess it will give you the picture, the visualization purpose. Fine, this is going to be helpful making the list. Okay everyone, let's get started making the list. Okay, first of all, the main parent class, let us talk about, that is student. Okay, some different symbol, fine, to confirm the name of the class. Inside that we have a property called roll number. This time I am going to make it as compact as possible, but I do not recommend that. Use the space as much as you want so that you don't get confused with your own code. Okay, inside the public part we are having functions get n, another one that is put n. Okay, so there is entire list for the class student. That class is totally complete, listed out. Then comes the class test. All right, you also confirm the details along with me, right? Because now you know how it works. Okay, for the class test, once again we have to write something in the protected part. As you can see, we are talking about this particular thing, class test. In the protected part we are going to list out function variables p1 p2. Okay, something in the public section, and that is going to be get m and put m. Okay, okay, but once again let me remind you, this is not the end of the list, because we are supposed to add the content from student. We are supposed to add the content of student and merge it into the child class test. And of course don't forget the mode of accessibility. Class test is receiving those properties and putting that into the public mode. So once again you have to be very sure, using this table of course, base class mode along with the child class mode, where exactly they're intersecting, that will be the mode for storing up the details. Okay, so first part, that is going to be the protected. So base class protected and child class public, where exactly they're intersecting. Of course, if you just refer the table, base class protected, child class public, they're intersecting in the protected. So of course use some symbol, right, so that you can identify, differentiate that the property is from some other class. Okay, so that part is done. Another part, public. So base class public and child class public, where exactly they're intersecting, they're meeting in the public section, of course, so add them in the public part. So we have entire list for the class student now. Okay, next part, we are going to be focusing on class port. Of course, like I just mentioned, it is totally separate, independent class. It has no connections with either of the classes. So class ports, that's going to be the name of the class. That's why this some identical typical symbols. Okay, easy. Protected part, we have one variable, that is s. In the public section we have functions get s and put s. Okay, I have tried to keep it as compact as possible, fine, because our focus right now is to keep track of the variables and functions and where exactly they are getting stored. That means either they are private or protected or public. Depending upon that, we will be able to make them call from the main function using the objects. Okay, so class ports, now that is out of the picture, fine. We have made the list, so we can focus on the next class, and this class is going to be very essential, you can say the heart of the program. So be very careful, be extra careful while you are making the list for the class result. Okay, First of all, directly, whatever the visible properties, if you just take a look in the private section, because when we don't define anything, by default, of course, it will be default private. So we have one variable total. In the public section, function called display. Okay, that is going to be the direct visible property for class result. Now, if you observe, it has one parent class called test. That means we are supposed to derive the entire list for the class test into result. That means we are talking about whole bunch. Everything has to be added in the class result. But I advise you go step by step in this manner. We have no issues, we have no hurry. Okay, once again, base class see everyone, now don't differentiate the properties of class test. You just have to make sure, you just have to assume that test class is having all this property as its own. Don't differentiate now that which variable or which function has come exactly from where exactly. Fine, don't just bother about it. You just consider the whole part as an entire single unit only. That is how it will keep you very confident, very simple. Okay, so we are talking about these base class entire unit as one. Okay, so base class protected, base class, see everyone, now it's time to refer the table once again. Base class protected and child class mode. Once again, what is the mode? You can see, okay, public. Base class protected, child class public. Base class protected, child class public. Where exactly they are meeting? In the protected section. Okay, so you can of course add these details. Right after that, another part, base class public and child class public. Again, refer the table, base class public and child class public. They are meeting in the public part. Okay, they are meeting in the public part. So both of these properties have been properly derived, initialized, added properly in the list itself. Okay, it happens. See the heat of the program, that's making me sweating. Okay, what's next? What is left now? Okay, another part. Fine, another part. Don't miss anything at all. Fine, that's why I already mentioned that list has to be very precise and very quick. You are not supposed to miss anything at all. Okay, once again, the same practice. Base class protected and child class public. Where exactly they are going to meet? In the protected section, like this. Fine, we are considering whole unit. That's why in the same phase, in the same part, we are mentioning, we are keep them updated, adding in the same unit. Okay, now base class public and child class, that is going to be public. So no wonder everything is getting into the public section itself. Okay, so in short, we derived all the properties of class test and put them inside the class result. So that job is totally completed. But there is one more parent class, another parent class, that is called sports. So now our job is to get the details from the sports and put them inside the list of class result. Okay, so sports class is getting added into the properties of result. Once again, the mode, that is going to be public. So base class protected, once again, time to refer the list. Base class protected and child class public, where they are meeting actually? Where? Okay, protected, of course, you are right. Now you are having some practice. Okay, another part and one last part, fortunately. Base class public, child class public. Base class public and child class public. The meeting point, of course, that is public. So you can put them. Now that is the whole list. Fine, this is the list I'm talking about. This is the total list for the class result. And at this stage, you can actually understand the requirement of making a list. If you just take a look at the code, everyone, just try to look at the code. I'm talking about class result. It is having only two properties visible to it, that is total and display. But instead of that, if you just count total number of properties, the list is long, very long. It means it is having 4 to 5 variables, 6 to 7, 8 functions. Where exactly have they come from? Fine. So the list will save you from the confusions. List will help you writing exactly and precise codes, accurate codes, I mean to say it. Okay, so once we are done making the list, now we are supposed to jump. We are supposed to focus on main function, because that is the point exactly where we are going to make an object. Okay, so we are going to make an object R. Of course, you remember the detail, one particular rule. Object of the class which is laying at the bottom of the diagram, the object has to be made of the same class. Okay, so no wonder that we had an object of class R. Result. Okay, first thing, now it's time to apply these rules, rule number 1 and rule number 2. For each and every line, for each and everything, you are supposed to add, or you are supposed to implement both the rules. Rule number 1, okay, using the object, we are using object R, we are trying to make an access to get n function. Rule number 1, what does it say? Okay, the object is belong to class result, so we refer the same list. Okay, and we are going to find, we will be looking for the instance get n. Is it there? Can you find the get n there anywhere? Yes, it is here. So rule number 2, that is okay. What about rule number 2? It is saying it has to be public, because we are making a call from void main, that is outside the class, so it has to be public. So if you just take a look at the visibility mode, access specifier, of course there is public, so there is no confusion, there is no argument, so both the rules are okay. That means we can go jump to the execution of the definition. Wherever the definition is there, go jump the definition. So where exactly we are going to find the definition? It's in the first class student. Okay, the value 1 will be shifted into x, and from x it will be stored in roll number. Okay, now is the turn of second statement, get m. Same practice. 3a, rule number 3a, first rule, find the function from the same list. That means R is an object of class result, and we are supposed to check the same list. Can you spot the function get m? Is it there? Yep, it's there, it's found. So rule number 1, okay. Rule number 2, is it public? Yes, that is also public. So go jump the execute definition. That means we are going to be putting 88 and 99 into x and y, and finally they are going to be assigned into p1 and p2. Okay, one more line, that is r.getS. Okay, for the execution, once again same two rules. Rule number 1, R is an object of class result, so use the same list. Is it there? Can you find the function getS? Yep, it's right here. So rule number 1, okay. Rule number 2, is it public? Of course it is public. So once again the same statement, go jump execute the definition wherever it is. So 100 is getting stored into x, and from x it will be stored in s. Finally, now once again be very careful over here. Fine, I need some extra attention right now. Okay, this particular line will be giving you the samples for rule number 3 and rule number 4. Both the rules will be satisfied. That is why little extra attention. Fine. First of all, rule number 3, what does it say? R is the object of class result. That's why you have to observe the same list. Can you find the function display over there in the same list? Yep, it is there. Rule number 2, is it public? Okay, go jump execute the definition. Okay, so while we are executing the definition, while we are executing this definition, now we are going to wonder that display function is trying to make an access to so many things. Function display is trying to access so many things, so many variables, so many functions it is trying to access. Now rule number 4 is in the action. Rule number 4, what does it say? Once you are inside the list, this particular function, it can access any property from the same list. Okay, that means this display function, it is allowed to access anything in the same list. So you can observe it is trying to access total, p1, p2 and s. So can you find all those variables in the list? Can you find? Yep, total, it's there. Fine. P1, p2, it's there. S, it's there. So everything is okay, there is no problem, there is no objections. Okay, apart from the variables, what else it is trying to do? Of course it is trying to access Rn as well. So Rn, do we have Rns anywhere? Yep, found, lost and found. Okay, apart from the variables, it is trying to access three functions as well: put n, put m, and put s. So once again, take the same practice. Can you find those functions over there? Can you find put n? Yep, it's there, so it will be executed. Put m, yes, it's there, it will be executed. And put s, it's also there, and it will be also executed. So there is no objection, no problem. So rule number 4, very important, very careful. Once you are inside the list, you can access everything from this same list. So that is the proof of that. Okay, that means initially we are going to add p1, p2 and the values of s, add them, put them into the total. Fine. Okay, so now we are having the total. Right after that, we will be printing roll number, that will be 1. Okay, once again, void display, it is going to make a call to put n. That means from display we are going to make a jump to the definition of put n. Where exactly we will finding? Yep, here, roll number, that will be executed, that will be printed. Right after that, put m. So what else will be printed? P1 and P2, the values of P1 and P2 will be printed. Put s, this time the value of s is going to be printed. And finally, total is getting printed. Hopefully this entire work has made you satisfied. The functioning, starting from the diagram, the list, okay, using the tables, all the steps, everything was very helpful for you to understand the concept of hybrid inheritance. Okay everyone, thank you.